Geeks and Gamers, Matt Lemke here with True Gamer Goggles, and today we are still at Gen Con in our escapades of running around talking to people, and we are visiting with okay, it's in transmission, not the other guys that I was just going to go talk to.
You're with Antimatter Games and Eric Bouchard.
Yeah, that's it. Wait, you said starts with an E.
Well, E, Eric.
Oh, E, okay, Eric. I remembered Eric, but all day long I've been going end transmission, antimatter, and which one is right? Because end transmission is like right there.
Yeah.
And I have an interview with them at like 6. So I've been going back and forth. I'm dyslexic and.
So A antimatter, but yes, E for Eric. But you know, we'll take it.
It's all good. And they've got Deep Wars, which I don't know if they can see this, but it's a undersea battle game, and the minis are pretty super cool. So, how long ago did you start this campaign?
Well, the Deep Wars was started in 2011. We had a Kickstarter, and it was based on the Shadow Sea rules. And Shadow Sea was produced earlier. The Deep Wars was an enhanced version of the original Shadow Sea, which is based on the Song of Blades and Heroes rule set. And the idea is kind of based on some of the work that I've done before in underwater marine biology. And so that was part of the influence that goes into the game.
Interesting. So he really knows his stuff.
I know some things, I guess, yeah.
So you still do that, or?
Yeah, I mean, one of the other jobs that I work at, a lot of it is marine-based.
Other jobs, plurals.
Yes.
You cannot just be a gamer.
That's a secret that most people already know.
All right, so your demos are set up on like a 24-inch board, but what is the average play size of the game?
24 by 24 is a good size for a small skirmish of 4 to 6 models, maybe up to 8 models. If you want to do a larger campaign with more points, more models, you can go to a 36 by 36 inch. It doesn't need a huge board to play, and you don't need a lot of models to play.
There's what, 4 factions?
For Deep Wars, there are 4 factions, 4 main ones, although there is an upcoming one called the Nereids of Blood Reef, which is from a Kickstarter that we had launched a couple of months ago. And so that'll be a 5th force also, 5th faction.
So let's see. Buy-in cost 2-player starters, 1-player starter?
It's all 1-player starters right now. We don't have a 2-player starter pack, although that's something we're looking into.
And the rule book is, what, 35, 40-ish?
The rule book is $30 for Deep Wars. We also have a hardcover version of it, and
which I don't see.
Which I don't see right now at the moment, also. But a hardcover version. Do we have the hardcovers? The hardcovers. They're back under here.
Oh, that's nice looking.
Yeah, nice hardcover, and that's $60. And so.
Oh, that's not bad. That's that one, and that's the one that you just kickstarted, right?
This is the Shadow Sea game, Conquest of the Underground World. So this is another game that's a complementary one. It was updated from the original Shadow Sea, but it is a land-based game that uses the same basic rule set, so the models can go between land and sea.
Oh!
So you can actually play a game.
Frogs.
So you can have a game that goes from onboard ships onto shore, to a blue hole that travels under the water, and then go underwater to an underground submarine. There's a lot of different ways you can play the game, actually.
So D6 mechanics.
D6 mechanics.
Stat based.
It is stat based. There are very few stats in it because it's based on the Song of Blade rules, and so there's 2 main ones. There's quality and combat. But there are a lot of other sub-stats that are in addition to give it a lot more complexity than the standard Song of Blades rules.
Here we go, here's a stat card.
This is an example of the stat cards. Now, one thing we've done for the newest version of 2.5 of Deep Wars and Shadow Sea is included all the special ability descriptions on the stat card on the front. And that makes it easy so you don't have to look it up inside the rule book all the time. And on the back, it has the weapon descriptions, the weapon effects, and armor effects and other kinds of special items that are carried and descriptions for those. So it makes it so you can play without really having to flip with the rulebook constantly, always. And
a little bit of yeah, that always helps. What else? What else is cool about it?
Well, what else is cool about it? Deep Wars is, I think, the only underwater game that's around, especially underwater skirmish miniatures game.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
I don't think there's another one. You can go. It's three-dimensional essentially, so you can change depth levels going up or down in the water column. And so if you want to go instead of around or through somebody, you can just go over them or under them.
So it's kind of like everybody's got flying.
Everybody is flying technically, yes. Yeah. If you look at it that way, everybody is flying. The only problem is if you fly too fast up or down, you get barrel trauma potentially from you get the bends if you do it too quickly and you do it improperly. If your dive suit doesn't work.
Another cool thing is you can use aquarium terrain.
Yes, you can use aquarium terrain. That's yet another thing.
Coral, real coral.
So if you go to the pet store and you want to use chunks of coral from there or any of the little the castles, coral castles they have, and drop them down on top of a game mat, and you're all set and good to go.
Okay. And you're right. I do think you're the only one doing underseas.
Yeah, we're the only ones.
I mean, especially with like skirmish minis. I mean,
right.
Somebody might have a sub game.
Somebody might have a sub game, yes, but
this is not a sub game.
Yes.
Average game time?
Average game time is about an hour for a two-player game, hour or less. And that's 4 to 6 models. And you can end faster, but generally it doesn't go past an hour. So we try to make it a fast-paced game.
Sounds like it. Are you planning on like structured tournaments?
Well, that's what in the new 2.5 rules we have tournament rules now with structured scoring and structured setup, structured play. So there is a system now in place in both Shadowsea and Deep Wars for that, and we're trying to get players more involved in that.
Okay. So you just did a Kickstarter. What are your do you have further plans? Are you working on another faction?
We want to try to increase the number of sea goblins. The sea goblins are a part of the Nereid force. So you have Nereids, which are like merfolk, and the sea goblins assist them, but people really like the sea goblins. They're based on goblin sharks, so they've got the pointy nose and everything. And so that's something that people want to see more of. Sea trolls also, and mounted sea goblins on top of giant crabs, things like that.
What about seahorses? I would like to see that.
Well, a seahorse is a potential also. It's such a nice creature though. I mean, it's hard to think about killing a seahorse or fighting one.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many cool things you could do. I mean,
there's a lot of things you could do.
Like a whale.
Well, wild creatures are a big part of the game also. So you have your two forces, but you can potentially have wild creatures swimming around the map as well. And those are not controlled by the players directly. Those have their own sort of rules for artificial intelligence of sorts. So they swim towards models that are weaker, or else if there's an injured model on the board, they automatically move without having to roll or having to do any checks, and then they attack. So that's part of the game. You can have whales swimming through that are minding their own business, but if they get hit by a blast attack, let's say, then they can attack the shooter and chase after him and swallow him.
And how piece count on the models? Are they complicated to put together? Just a couple pieces?
I would say they're about normal for a miniature skirmish game these days. So they have multiple parts in a lot of cases, but they're also very dynamic. And so I'd say they're about equivalent to other competitors' models.
So 5, 6 to 8 pieces?
Yeah, 5 or less in general, something like that.
So it's easy for a newcomer?
It's fairly easy for a newcomer. We have the larger pieces are in resin, which makes it lighter and easier to put together, really detailed. The heavier ones are in metal. Not the heavier ones, I'm sorry, the smaller ones are in metal. Makes them a little heavier, but for their size, it's not that much heavier.
Anything else you want to add?
Well, we're just launching the 2.5 version right now. This is when we're first showing the new rule books, and we'd like to try to start having people act as part of our group of Sea Dogs, and that's a group that does demos in game stores and does battles, and if they're part of our group, then they can get extra bonus items, things that give them an incentive to keep promoting the game in different game stores. We're trying to get more people playing in local game stores.
Sign up at
www.antimatter-games.com.
Oh, I figured there'd be a slash in there for Sea Dog or something.
No, it's not yet. That's what we're working on. So we're getting that set up right now. So we have a Facebook page also for Antimatter Games, and then there's a sub-site called the Abyssal Realms group, and that's where right now we're trying to get as many fans together for that.
All right. I think you've pretty much covered it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
All right, bye-bye.